Good day, everyone. Today I am here to share with you of how God has used me and has blessed my life and has used individuals also to bless my life and to guide me into becoming the man that I am today. Well, I'll be sharing with you of a very interesting story of my life and of how I become so involved in church and in God. This story began where I was attending this church in my community by the name of the Baritown Missionary Church. My mother, on the other hand, was attending a church in Montego Bay by the name of the Montego Bay New Testament Church of God. One day I was coming from the Baritown Missionary Church, and a member of the church said to me that, in quote, "You know, see how your clothes short. You must get some new clothes, man, to come to church." That day I went home, I decided that I wasn't going back to that church because when that member spoke to me, we were in the crowd and I was so humiliated and ashamed. I decided not to go back to church, especially because I didn't have the clothes to wear. However, Sundays has passed and I was home and my mother was going to church. And she decided one Sunday not to leave me at home and to carry me to her church. So that short clothes I wore to her church, and I'm telling you that the feeling that I had when I reached the church gates and the persons there were so welcoming. I I wasn't going to stop going to that church for sure. So I went that Sunday with my mother, and it was such a blessing that the pastor preached, and I love the sermon, I love the preaching, I love the when you're in the church, it was just, I just felt like I left everything at home, all the stress, school work, everything. So I decided that, you know what, I was going to that church with my short clothes, wearing my jeans pants, whichever shirt, and I went to church every Sunday with my mother. So while I was going there, one day I came home from school now. One day I came home from school. I came from school, and when I came from school, I decided to go. By this time, I was attending high school. So I decided to go and visit my primary school sixth grade teacher by the name of Miss Cook. Yes, Miss Cook. I visited her because she was a woman of God, and I admired her while I was going to primary school. How each and every class she had, she usually read a word from the Bible, and before she even started teaching. So I visited her, and she 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 listened to my concern. So I told her that I was attending my church in Barrytown, and the member told me that my clothes was too short, and she told me that, listen, I must just pray. Prayer, prayer, prayer helps. And from that day, when I went home, I didn't stop praying. I didn't stop praying because the shoes that I was wearing to go to church was my school shoes. My clothes was short. It was short for true, because I started to look at that. Oh, my clothes were short, and I went home and I didn't stop praying. I didn't stop praying. I prayed every day, every minute, every second. Like literally, like if I'm walking on the road, I prayed. If I anywhere I prayed, and I prayed and I prayed. And you know that my mother had asked my brother for some clothes, and my brother sent over some clothes from his house. And when he sent over those clothes were perfect fitting for me. And oh my God, I believe that God really provided those clothes, because anybody could have said no. He could have said no. He could have said he needed those clothes, but he sent them over. And when I got those clothes, I'm telling you that, man, I went to church, and I just couldn't believe that my prayer really came through. And while I was going to church each and every Sunday, Sunday after Sunday, one of my classmates' mother, Miss Rose, she said to me that, Khalil, I have a shoes to give you. And I'm like, really? And she said, yes, she has a new shoes to give me. I should try it on next week Sunday. And next week Sunday when I went to church and I tried it on, it was the perfect fit. I didn't ask her for these shoes. She just looked at me one Sunday and said, Khalil, I have a shoes to give you. And I believe that God answered my prayer. Another Sunday again, another member of the church looked and said, I have some clothes. I don't know if they can fit you, but I wanted to try them. And believe you me, those clothes fit. And if it isn't God, who else could it be? If I'm praying to someone and if I'm praying to God Almighty and I receive on behalf of my prayers, who could it be? And he's the only one that I pray to. So I'm telling you that prayer really works, and God has